This episode of the podcast is being recorded on January 26th, 2020.
Okay, on both sides. Gentlemen, we went over the rules in the dressing room. I want to caution you right now to keep this fight clean at all times, protect yourself at all times, and what I say you must obey. Good luck, Minnesota. Touch 'em up.
Till this day, ladies and gentlemen, I'm channeling my inner Deontay Wilder, and I'm back with a whole hell of a lot more energy than last week. Last week I was hungry, I was hungover, my body was withered and dehydrated. It was all bad. But not this week. This week I'm back in full force, and welcome to Have Fun on the Indys. I'm your host, Abe, and all you have to do is take your fat fingers, skinny fingers, beautiful fingers, ugly fingers, and type in @HaveFunOTI, @HaveFunOTI. There you'll find my Twitter. You'll find my Instagram. You'll find my Facebook. And from there, you'll find the links to all of my podcast hosts, from YouTube to Vimeo to SoundCloud. And kabloom! We're going to start this show off right. We're going to start with some mixed martial arts. Then we're going to go straight to some boxing. And then we're going to end it with some good old professional wrestling. As a matter of fact, though, scratch that. I'm looking at my notes here. And I think we're going to start off with some MMA, then pro wrestling, and then boxing. I'm all over the place, ladies and gentlemen. I think this energy pill I took is getting to my head and getting to my speech. But none of that matters, because we're going to start off with some MMA, and I'm going to snap. MMA edition. Oh, dear Lord. I'm going to snap MMA edition at 9 a.m. I'm already going to start getting pissed off. How weird is that, huh? So this week's I'm going to snap MMA edition is Stephen A. Smith berating Donald Cerrone because Cerrone didn't do and didn't fight the way Stephen Asshole Smith wanted. First and foremost, Stephen A. Smith's job is to say outlandish shit so that people can talk about him. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about him. So first off, it was bad enough that Stephen A. Smith has been given the fucking privilege to enter the world of mixed martial arts, let alone talk about it. And it all started off Saturday morning on ABC's UFC Live. ABC had UFC Live on and was covering mixed martial arts. And they had Stephen A. Smith on there talking and acting like he knows MMA like he does football or baseball or whatever the hell other sports he covers. But that's okay, because click, there goes the changing of the channel. Easy. But then we are force-fed this idiot after the McGregor-Cerrone fight. When we're all interested in the post-fight commentary about all the insanity of the night from people who actually know about MMA. Now, him being on post-fight would have been fine if we didn't have to hear him destroy Cerrone and his character. It would have been fine if we didn't have to hear shit like this. My God, I'm going to have to read some of these quotes, but it's disgusting to me. Here's what Stephen A. Smith said. I got these quotes off of MMA Fighting, the good folks at MMA Fighting, and it was written by Steven Morocco. And I quote, "Step back, gather yourself." Excuse me, step back and go like this. Okay, he caught me with the shoulder. I'm a little bit rattled right now. Let me catch my bearings. Let me catch my breath. I'm not even a fighter and I know this. Come on, y'all. You guys fought. I didn't. Oh my God. Step back and gather yourself? Step fucking back and gather yourself. Who let this idiot in the fight game? Yeah, I'm sure Cerrone didn't want to step back and gather himself after getting smashed in the face. I'm sure he wanted to sit there and continue to get his face contorted. You idiot, who's only popular because you have a bad reputation and everyone hates you. And then we heard some more about catching his bearings. That there's some more brilliance. He wants Cerrone to catch his bearings. And he wants Cerrone to catch his breath. What the fuck am I reading right now? Let me catch my bearings? Let me catch my breath? Yeah, hey, guess what? You're not a fighter, and you never were. I hope the fight community gives this guy hell, and I hope they tell him to fuck off. Fuck right off. If Stephen A. Smith wants to talk shit to basketball players and punk them like he's been, then let him. If he wants to berate the fucking NFL and its players like he's been, then let him. He can go dump on golf, tennis, badminton, fucking swimming. I don't care. But I hope he realizes that the MMA space is full of fucking savages. And I'm not just talking about the fighters. I'm talking about the fans. We're all a passionate bunch when it comes to our beloved MMA. And if you're going to talk shit about our fighters, our favorites or not, we're going to tell you to go fuck off. We're going to tell you to go fuck yourself right back to General Hospital, where you sucked at acting, and go back to the ESPN desk, where you wear too much makeup and suck. I know it's the entertainment era, and the UFC is now run by a Hollywood talent agency, but let's not bring scrubs like this to the great sport of MMA. No matter how much the UFC feels like entertainment more than sport nowadays, us true fans are here to still stand up for it. And tell people like Stephen A. Smith to go back to the basketball court and the football field. Oh, and his shitty roles on TV. Stephen A. Smith, congratulations. You made me snap, douchebag. Dear Lord. Then later on, this guy, I don't want to keep, this segment's over, but I mean, he comes out and it shows him hitting the pads, and it's horrible. And it's horrible, and he feels he can talk smack like that about all these fighters the way he does all these other sports. I hope people drive him the fuck away. That is my opinion. Anywho, moving the fuck on. Oh, it's insane. Anywho, moving the fuck on. Here's an article that I caught. I think it was on MMAfighting.com also, or it might have been mixedmartialarts.com. I can't really remember right now. My head's spinning. I have a headache. Stephen A. Smith is giving me a fucking aneurysm. Anywho, so Bare Knuckle is back in the news again. If you're a hardcore fight fan, and they have 2 new signees. Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship is added again. And the first signee is motherfucking Hector Lombard. Now, things might get a little tough for Lombard. His last 6 fights were in MMA, and they were all losses. All in the UFC. So, I mean, yes, he did lose in the UFC, but it's not like he was facing nobodies. He was facing elite fighters. His Bellator run was awesome. So his big ass throwing hands, bare knuckle, might bring back some of that success. And then you have the second signee. Thiago Alves. Oh my God. Who, I'm sorry. I don't care if he's coming off 2 losses. That man is dangerous. Dangerous. Especially on the feet. And now you're going to take off the 4-ounce gloves and have him fight bare knuckle? Fucking insanity. Insanity that's going to make me bust out my wallet and say, here, bare knuckle fighting championship. I'm going to watch you. And it's insane because everybody says bare knuckle fighting championship is almost like a flash to the past, you know, with the bare knuckle and the environment and the arena and how gritty it is. And to me, signees like these 2 are what makes BKFC must-watch fighting. It's different. It's weird at times. And as long as Feldman doesn't go into the ring and cut another promo like he's fucking Vince McMahon, we'll all keep watching. I know I will for a fact. I love Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, and I can't wait to see everybody do more shit there. Hey, it's another place for fighters to fight. And a lot of people say, a lot of the guys there are over the hill. Why are they bringing over the hill MMA guys? you know what? These guys have the right to make money any way they want, and they're not that over the hill. Hector Lombard isn't that over the hill. Thiago Alves did well in the UFC. He's not over the hill. Fuck off. Let these men make their money. Let these men compete in the sport that they love, which is fighting. And now we move on to the weekend fights. Last night, UFC had UFC Fight Night 166 from Raleigh, North Carolina. Woo! It was a good show. I watched all the prelims. I watched the main card. It was a good night of fun. I'm going to go over some of the fights that caught my attention. First fight, Sarah McMahon versus Lena Landsberg. It was a women's bantamweight fight. Now, Sarah McMahon has been out for a while. She became a mother and took some time off, and she relocated to Sacramento with Team Alpha Male. And in this fight, the improvements definitely showed in this fight, as she ate up Lena Landsberg on the ground like she was a Hershey's bar. The biggest critique McMahon has had is that when she would get the fight to the ground, she'd almost nullify herself. She'd control the fight, but with very little action. Not this time. This time it was, I'm taking you down to the floor, I'm using my fists, and I'm pounding your face in. Over and over and over again. Winner by unanimous decision, Sarah McMahon. Then we move on to the two fights that caught my attention on the main card. First one, Rafael dos Anjos versus Michael Chiesa at welterweight. Now, I'm a huge Rafael dos Anjos fan, so I was incredibly biased during this fight. I've watched the man for years. It still hurts me that he didn't get that giant payday with Conor McGregor years back, but it is what it is. He's been in the game for more than a minute. I think the last time we saw him, he lost a decision to Leon Edwards. There's no shame in that. And, he's been trucking along at 170 pounds after competing at 155 pounds for a lot of his career, most of his career. And my God, one thing I did notice from this fight was Michael Chiesa looks way healthier at 170 pounds. Way healthier. He looks big and he looks in incredible shape. In the fight, Dos Anjos landed some giant leg kicks to Chiesa. At one point in the fight, it looked like Chiesa's leg had the coronavirus. I don't know. It doesn't matter, though, because Chiesa uses his wrestling and his clinch work to stop Dos Anjos' leg kicks and his strikes. Chiesa wins the fight. Winner by unanimous decision, Michael Chiesa. Post-fight, he calls out Covington. Can't hate that call out at all. He's thinking big money. Covington's a draw. It would be a great fight, but Chiesa calls out Covington and then proceeds to leave the octagon. And it's one of those things where we are in the entertainment era in MMA, and some of these guys, can really learn the art of the promo, because the call out was awesome, but it was so fast and he just leaves. It would have been better for him to add a little bit of more stuff in there. Just my opinion, though. I'm not in there in the fucking cage in front of like 10,000 people. And then we had our main event. Curtis Razor Blades versus Junior Dos Santos at heavyweight. Man, Curtis Blades' family is in the crowd. Curtis Blades' fans are in the crowd. And then Curtis Blades almost sends JDS's head into the crowd, proving that he is a major threat in the heavyweight division and proving that he isn't just a wrestler. Razor Blades throws a razor-sharp punch right onto JDS's face and then proceeds to go to work and win the fight. Just fucking ouch at that punch. I swear some of these heavyweights could actually kill somebody with that punch if they were to fight out in the streets. It's insane to me. Winner by TKO, Curtis Blades. And then we move on to show number 2. And show number 2 was the show that was talked about more, in my opinion. The show that was more intriguing, in my opinion. We had Bellator 238 from the Forum in Inglewood, California. God, the Forum, always having some sick fights. Let's see here. Let's see if I can find my notes. Because, dear lords, it's hard to remember all these things. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So first fight that made me feel good for this gentleman was at featherweight, and it was Aaron Pico versus Daniel Carey. Knockout by Aaron Pico. And good for him. He's had wins, he's had losses. People have been writing him off as, he was a great wrestler, but now he's not going to make the transition to mixed martial arts. That's all bullshit. Every fight he's been in has been awesome. Win or lose, every fight he's been in has been must-watch MMA. And yeah, he's had a couple of losses, but that doesn't mean a fucking goddamn thing. You don't think this guy knows about losses? He was in wrestling, the hardest sport probably in all of sports, the sport that takes the most discipline and the sports that takes the most out of you. Every time he wins, I'm happy. Every single fucking time he wins, I'm happy. Aaron Pico by KO punch. Daniel Carey, have fun on the Indies. Just kidding. Anyways, the fight after that was on the prelims. We move on to the main fight card. It was Sergio Pettis versus Alfred Kazashkian at bantamweight. Man, Sergio Pettis leaves the UFC on a high note with the win and ends up in Bellator chasing that money, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him one goddamn bit. He might have been thrusted a little too fast into the UFC, so maybe it's good. Maybe it's good that he's going out and testing the waters, maybe getting paid a little bit more, and at the same time honing his craft. I guarantee you, Scott Coker loves this man. Anywho, halfway in the first round, Sergio throws his hands, and Alfred goes down and is hurt. Hurt like my heart after my 9-year relationship ended. Kaboom! Alfred hits the ground, and Sergio proceeds with the guillotine choke, and that's all she wrote. Going to Bellator might be the best thing Sergio has done. I guarantee we see him in the UFC again someday. It's just a matter of time, in my opinion. As long as he keeps finding this success, there shouldn't even be an issue. Winner by submission, Sergio Pettis. Then we had featherweight Grand Prix time. Darian Caldwell versus Adam Borix, obviously at featherweight. First round starts, first round ends, and Darian Caldwell, with all the confidence in the world, slaps on a rear naked choke, and it's tap time. Winner by submission, Darian Caldwell. Post-fight, AJ McKee and Darian Caldwell face off, and boy, is that going to be a fucking banger. Both of them are super explosive. Both of them had great success in mixed martial arts. That's must-see TV right there. Featherweight Grand Prix has been goddamn wonderful. And then we move on to the main event. To the goddamn main event where Cyborg is trying to capture another championship. And I say another because she's been a champion in every company she's competed in. Hell, she almost beat the hell out of a kickboxer, a world fucking famous kickboxer in a kickboxing fight. This is the fight I paid to see. Cyborg, with her history of violence, and Julia Budd, who's been champion for the past 2 years. A girl with a similar build as Cyborg, and maybe, just maybe, word around the water cooler, she might be catching Cyborg at the perfect time. Cyborg's been in the game for many, many years and is coming off a loss, albeit to an elite fighter known as Amanda Nunes. So everybody can shut the fuck up with the whole Cyborg's done, Cyborg doesn't have a chin. Go fuck yourself. Cyborg's probably the greatest women's fighter on earth. If it wasn't for her and Rousey and a lot of these other girls, women's MMA wouldn't be shit. And whether people want to admit it or not, Cyborg had a lot to do with the development of women's MMA, even if the UFC wasn't giving her a shot when she deserved it. Anywho, round 1, Cyborg pressures, and Julia Budd immediately puts her up against the cage and starts going old school with the foot stomps. I mean, anything helps, right? And then, my God, the first round gets exciting. Cyborg takes her down. Budd gets up. A minute later, they are throwing fucking bombs. Cyborg takes an illegal knee to the head. Takes about 5 seconds. Doesn't even faze her. Brushes it off and tells the ref she's okay. Ends the round by punching Budd to the floor for some intense ground and pound. Can you imagine Cyborg just on top of you, wailing down punches? That's a scary sight. Albeit a little sexy. Round 2. Dear Lord. Cyborg starts this round with pure aggression, knocks Bud down, and proceeds to violently kick her in the back. My God, Cyborg throws elbows in this round, kicks, punches, huge Muay Thai knees in this round. Julia and Bud getting stomped everywhere. Round 3 is looking tough. Cyborg controlled the whole round. There isn't much to say. Cyborg ends the round with pure violence and vicious ground and pound. Man, round 4 approaches us, and Cyborg doesn't give a shit. Cyborg doesn't wait and unleashes a fucking tsunami of strikes, punches to the face over and over again. Then a sniper-like body punch ends it all. Winner by TKO, Chris Cyborg. And you can't help but be happy for her. You can't help to admire her and her never-give-up spirit. No matter who the hell you are, you can look at Cyborg and all the trials and tribulations that the MMA business has thrown at her face, and she's overcome it all. Invicta champion, Strikeforce champion, Bellator champion, went to the biggest company on the planet, the UFC, and won their championship. If you don't want to give her a little bit of fucking credit, that's on you, people. That's on you, and you could bring up the whole steroid accusation and blah, blah, blah. She paid her fucking dues, and she wasn't the only one using. Get over your fucking selves. Kaboom. So now, MMA segment is coming to a close. And let's go to the dirt sheets. Who knows? I might find something interesting. Let's start off with... Let's see here. MMA fighting. See what MMA fighting's got the day after the fights. Damn. Daniel Cormier to Stipe Miocic. Do the right thing and give me my rematch. Let's click on that by Damon Martin over here on MMA fighting. Apparently, from what I've been hearing in interviews, Miocic has revealed that he had finally been cleared, but he's not saying he wants to fight Cormier. He's not talking about the trilogy. He's talking about all this other stuff. And, his trainer came out, well, not his trainer, his manager, and he was saying that Stipe wants to fight an opponent that he hasn't beaten before. Now, I don't know if this is Stipe being serious and really not wanting to give DC the rematch, because that would be very weird and very unlike Stipe Miocic to want to break that since he's so competitive. Or it could be that he's just pulling what Daniel Cormier pulled on him, when Cormier didn't want to give him a rematch either, and Cormier was in the news talking about, I don't know if he deserves it, this and that. Who knows? But here's what Cormier had to say, and I quote, I mean, Stipe and I are going to fight next. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. It's what's gonna happen, Cormier said. I know they're saying they want something new. Well, hell, I wanted something new after I beat him, and I gave him a rematch. So it's only right to do the right thing. You're honorable, right, Stipe? You're a fireman. You save lives. You do the right thing all the time, right? Do the right thing and give me my rematch. Well, he's not lying. That would be the right thing to do. Let's see here. Let's keep going on these dirt sheets. Stephen A. Smith fires back at Joe Rogan. We're done talking about Stephen A. Smith. I know Joe Rogan said that Stephen A. Smith was not good for ESPN. It was not good for the UFC, and it was not good for MMA. Most real MMA fans and MMA personalities agree. And I'm sure Stephen A. Smith rebutted with something stupid. So we move on. Let's see here. We got to find at least one more, right? It's all just results. Here, let's go to mixedmartialarts.com and the underground. The sewer that is the underground. The sewer that we all live in and love. The underground. Let's see. UFC on ESPN 24. Bonuses. Oh, you know what? Let's check that out. Let's check if Bellator has salaries. Has the pay, salaries. What the fuck am I talking about? 238 pay. Let's see here. Let's see if we can find anything. We did find it. On a website called fansided.com. Let's see what these people made, or at least some of these people. Now, these are just guaranteed purses. They're not what they get from sponsors, or not what they get from commercials, or not what they get for interview time. So let's not get our panties in a bunch. So let's start off with Sergio Pettis. Got $30,000 a show, $30,000 to win. Darian Caldwell got $25,000 for that featherweight Grand Prix win. And Julia Budd made probably the biggest purse in her career at $350,000, and Chris Cyborg at $250,000. Huh. I mean, it is what it is. And of course, you have fans shitting on it and all. Oh yeah, look at Sergio Pettis. He's sure getting paid now, isn't he? Ha ha ha. Oh, look at Chris Cyborg. She's sure getting paid, huh? Ha ha ha. You know, it sickens me when people talk shit about the pay that Bellator gives its fighters. I'm always a man who's always going to be on the side of the fighter over the company. And I want them to get paid. And Bellator tries to pay, but they're not made out of money. And when people say, well, Viacom has lots of money. Why don't they just give them more money? They're rich. Because Viacom is a giant entity that has a bunch of other things that they have to look at also. They can't just give money away to everything that people want. If they did that, they wouldn't be the huge media conglomerate that they fucking are. Come on now. Let's put on our big boy hats and understand that Bellator isn't raking in the millions like UFC. Hell, I don't even think Bellator is raking in the money the way ONE FC is these days. Because One Fighting Championship is getting millions of views. Millions. And in that part of the world, they've surpassed the UFC in numbers. And those are just facts. So let's not shit on Bellator for their fighter pay, especially since we don't know what they actually get. We don't know if the bonuses are there. We don't know what's going on. So that will end our MMA segment, and we're going next to professional wrestling, which, like I said, I try my best to catch up with it, but there's a lot of stuff to catch up on, especially nowadays where the indies are running rampant and every indie company is a super indie now. It's hard to watch everything. And first off, I know the Royal Rumble is today, but I can't preview it. As much as I want to, trust me, because it is my favorite pay-per-view of the year by a mile. To me, it surpassed WrestleMania. I think the last WrestleMania that might have been better than a Royal Rumble was like 17. Maybe 18. Maybe 19? Hell, I'm looking at these things and maybe up to 20. After 20, it's all become a big, giant fucking blur. So, however, this podcast gets posted either later today, which is Sunday, or Monday morning. So I may talk Royal Rumble next week. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But to start things off hot, Ring of Honor's 18th anniversary was announced. And it has me incredibly happy. Happy in my pants. Because my God, I wish I had the money to go to it. It's in Vegas, and I'm not so far away from being so far away. I live in California. It's just, I gotta stop. I gotta fix my car and let it not leak everywhere. It's like jizzing everywhere. Anywho, enough of my problems. Because Ring of Honor, with all the problems that they have, in my opinion, is doing something awesome. They are dubbing this 18th anniversary event Past versus Present. And when you mention Past and Ring of Honor, you know ROH's Past is what made the evolution of wrestling what it is today. The high-flying, the heavily influenced Japanese style. Ring of Honor was bringing all that shit to the United States almost 2 decades ago, just in case everybody thinks that New Japan invented it. Or that AEW invented it. Ring of Honor. So let's take a look at some of the names that they plan on bringing back so far. And God, it makes my head want to combust. It's so cool. Allison Danger. Fuck yeah. Matt Sydal. Yes, give me more. Necro Butcher. My God. Douglas Williams. I'm now jacking off. Homicide. Fucking take my money. Take my house and take my ass to Vegas, please. Please, God. Please, God, let Homicide be gangsterish as fuck. Old school Homicide, where he throws shit all over the arena, where he threatens the fans with sharp objects, and where he's attempting to pour Drano down people's throats. Do we all remember all those good fucking times? Because I do. I remember the real Homicide, which you do see glimpses of when he was in LAX over in TNA. But no, that wasn't the real Homicide. I'm sorry to break it to everybody. If you haven't seen Homicide or his run in Ring of Honor, go watch that shit. Make it a priority to go watch that shit. Some of the best angles in the history of that company. And that's saying something. Can you imagine? Can you fucking imagine if during the Homicide match / segment, whatever he's going to do, Loki comes out. Then Rocky Romero and Ricky Reyes comes out. Then the fucking Rottweilers continue to beat the shit out of everyone, steal their shoes, leave them bloody. The fucking possibilities are endless. They can bring back so many people. It's just a shame that some of the big ones are in WWE. It's good for them. It's not a shame because they deserve that payday. They're the ones who built this industry into what it is today. You know, the whole evolution of wrestling. But man, it would have been awesome if WWE would work with Ring of Honor the way they do with, like, say, Evolve. And they let Samoa Joe show up. And AJ Styles. And Daniel Bryan. God damn, that would be awesome. I know ROH is going through some shit right now. But it will be my first love. It will always be my first love. ROH will always be my first love when it comes to that fast, strong style type of wrestling. It just will. Every time I look at that DVD collection I have in my closet, which, by the way, thank you, Judas, a man who never asked for them back. I guess that makes me a thief. I gotta hunt that guy down. Anywho, my first love, Ring of Honor. I hope you do well. I hope 2020 brings you lots of happiness. And then we move on to something that's... It's just fucking weird to me sometimes. This is why I can't watch professional wrestling as much these days, and this is why sometimes I want to get back in it just to be around it, maybe not as a wrestler, but it turns me off sometimes. Because what the fuck is happening in the wrestling world? Mance Warner is now being compared to Stone Cold Steve Austin. I just don't know what to say. Here, let me take a drink of water real quick, because fuck. Okay. Now, Mance Warner is good at what he does. I haven't watched too much of him, but the small amount of material I've watched on him, I think he's all right. He's not a horrible wrestler. From what I hear, he was trained by a pupil of Dory Funk Jr. So, like I said, he's not horrible at all. In interviews, he's very humble and respectful of the business. And it seems like he genuinely loves the business and wants it to thrive. And he realizes professional wrestling should be, you know, the flag of professional wrestling should be carried with some decency. And I think he does that. And he was even super humble about being compared to Stone Cold. Here, let me read his quote over at WrestlingInc.com, and it was transcribed by Ross Kelly. Let's see here. Here we go. To be compared to one of the best ever is pretty damn cool. So I'm not going to knock it at all. Here. At the end of the day, it's a cool thing to hear. I just show up and go to work. I want the fans to have a good time and get their money's worth. And when they leave, they're not going, "Oh, that's bullshit," stated Warner. So see, he's humble. He's a humble man, and he's not saying he's Stone Cold. He's not saying... you know, he's the second coming of Stone Cold either. But the fans. The fucking fans. And with that being said, what the hell are we doing? Come on. He's nowhere near Stone Cold in the ring or on the mic at all. Just because he has an I don't care attitude doesn't mean he's Austin. I mean, for God's sake, Stone Cold never used a Kenzan as a professional wrestling weapon. You want to know what a Kenzan is? Go look it up on his wiki page. Go look up his Wikipedia page, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's on his head. The Kenzan is stuck on his fucking head. And you're probably asking, what the hell is a Kenzan? For those of you who don't know, like I didn't know, even though I've seen them used 1,000 times in deathmatch wrestling, a Kenzan is this. Thanks to Wikipedia. Dear Lord, it's just... there it is, a big giant Tenzan that people stick on their heads. So, according to Wikipedia, a Kenzan, also called spiky frog, is a specific device used in the Japanese art of flower arrangement, ikebana, for fixing the flowers in the container. It consists of a heavy lead plate with erected brass needles where the stipes are fixed. Erected brass needles. Fuck. See, I'm not ragging on the guy. He's obviously good, right? Or at least decent. He has a career in MLW right now, which MLW is a great place to be. I guess he's tough since he does death matches, but let's not get Markish here and start calling him Stone Cold. Just because he drinks beer doesn't make him Stone Cold. It's too much. Let's not be idiots and compare things like this. Come on, let's not be dumb. What's next? Nick Gage is Mick Foley? Because he's not at all. What's next? Fucking Schlack is Terry Funk? Because he's not at all. Just saying, let's not be marks. Because sometimes, wrestling fans, you get a little embarrassing. I'm sorry to break it to you. Sometimes you are embarrassing. And that's that on the pro wrestling fucking segment. And it's main event time. And we go to the boxing ring. I love boxing. Danny Garcia fought this weekend against Ivan Redek. Haven't watched the fight. We'll be watching it right now. Here in a bit before I go off and watch the Royal Rumble. So I won't be covering that just yet. But let's start off with something cool. Well, to me, at least it was cool. Let me see if I can pull up these articles real quick. My God, this computer. I need a solid state drive. This mechanical shit is just killing me. All right, here. Okay. So, goddamn. So, Bob Arum wants McGregor versus Terrence Crawford twice. One in boxing and one in MMA. Fucking insanity. You know Bob Arum wants that Conor McGregor money. And to be fair, it is a little weird, especially since Bob's past comments about MMA have not really been that kind. If I remember correctly, he said MMA was for skinheads, for white people with no culture. It was embarrassing how they walk in there barefoot, etc., etc., etc. But, he's realizing it's 2020 and MMA is not going anywhere. And if you can get one of those guys to make money with you, why not? So here's what Bob Arum had to say. I got this article on Boxing News 24 from Chris Williams. And let's see if I can find the quotes. Here we go. Here's Bob Arum. And I quote, "You see, Conor McGregor talking about Mayweather and talking about Pacquiao," said Arum to Talk Boxing Podcast. "I'd love to have Crawford fight Conor McGregor. Once MMA rules and once boxing rules. I think Crawford has a wrestling background, and he wouldn't be adverse to fighting McGregor with MMA and UFC rules," said Arum. So that's something that has occurred to us in the last couple of days, and we'll be pursuing it with Dana White. I, for one, would love to see something like that. But it makes you wonder, would Terrence Crawford love to do something like that? Well, they apparently asked him. And of course, he wants the boxing side of things. He is elite in that sport. No way McGregor beats him at his own sport. It's just the way it is. No matter how many rounds he's lasted with Mayweather, he's not beating Terrence Crawford in a boxing fight. But here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. Terrence Crawford isn't opposed to the MMA fight at all. He's not opposed to it at all. He even tweeted Dana White. Let's see if I can find his tweet. Here it is. At Dana White. "Do I need to get my MMA gloves ready?" Wow. Just, it's a whole different mentality than Mayweather's "I'm the A side, you come to me." I understand. I understand it. Terrence Crawford is a true fighter. Now, it could be Crawford wants the money, which is fine if that's what he's going for. If he's going for money, that's absolutely fine. He's given his soul and his heart to combat sports, and he should get paid. And he should fucking get paid. Or it could be he's just a true competitor. Either way, you have to give the man his props. But for once, I might agree with the boxing fans, because while I love these mixed fights where a boxer goes in MMA, hell, we had James Toney do it, but God, he was a little over the hill. Right now we have Clarissa Shields trying to do it. She's very popular, but it's just different. But a lot of boxing fans don't like these fights, that these crossover fights, because one, sometimes they hold up divisions, sometimes they hold up championship fights. And I understand. a lot of boxing fans don't like the sound of this fight in either arena. And, it's fair. Everybody wants to see Terrence Crawford fight the best in boxing. Everybody wants to see him against Keith Thurman. Everybody wants to see him against Sean Porter. And everybody wants to see him against Errol Spence. And I get it. Those are money fights also. So whatever happens with Terrence Crawford, I'm all behind him. All in all, I hope Terrence gets a big money fight soon. Whether it be against McGregor or against Spence, it doesn't matter to me. After all the years he's been playing punch face, it's about time he gets his due. It is what it is. That's my opinion. And I'm entitled to it. Let's see here. Oh, we have a good one here. Talks of Andy Ruiz Jr. versus Dillian White. Man, that is one tasty fight. I really wouldn't mind that. So according to Eddie Hearn, this fight is a possibility. Even though they have a fight for Dillian against Alexander Povetkin almost done and signed. In my opinion, that's an incredible fight. Dillian White and Andy Ruiz. It would 100% make for a good, exciting main course on any card, almost anywhere in the world. First, Dillian White doesn't get the credit he deserves. I say this all the time. The man doesn't get the credit he deserves. Constantly, all the troglodytes talk smack about him and his resume. People like to go on and on about his fights with Derek Chisora. Oh, he had a hard time of disposing him. He didn't take him out quick enough, so that shows that he's not good. Last time I checked, Derek Chisora isn't a fucking walk in the park for anybody. Dillian went up against Joseph Parker, David Allen, Lucas Brown, all the while selling lots of tickets, being a great mouthpiece, and fighting like a true warrior. So, everybody ragging on Dillian White can go suck a lemon. I mean, dear Lord, the man is great. Even his Anthony Joshua fight, which he lost, it doesn't matter. It was a good fight. It was entertaining. It brought eyeballs. And he's a main event guy. He's a main event star and should be pushed as such, in my opinion. Now, Andy Ruiz Jr., in my opinion, doesn't have quite the same resume. However, his first fight with Anthony Joshua proved that if he's disciplined enough and doesn't act like a rich kid once the almighty dollar starts pouring in, he can beat anyone at any time. And it is what it is. He's a good boxer. He just got a little undisciplined. And from what I hear from all the top stars, from Conor McGregor to Anthony Joshua, Dillian White, everybody, the money can get to you. And it is what it is. But recently, it seems like Ruiz is trying to get back on the right track. He parted ways with trainer Manuel Robles. I don't know if he's found a new trainer, but I know he's shopping around. Hopefully his eyes have been opened after the rematch loss to Joshua, and he can continue to inspire the world that no matter what you look like or what people say, you can make dreams come true. People are going to talk smack. To this day in 2020, people still don't realize that in combat sports, it doesn't matter your body shape. It really, truly doesn't. You can have some fat and still be in incredible shape. Now, you can't be just a complete fat ass and come in weighing almost 300 pounds for a heavyweight fight. But you don't have to be ripped. Everybody has proved that. One of the best heavyweight boxers in the history of the sport, in Tyson Fury, is proof of that. So let's get over ourselves with the whole body thing, okay? And with that being said, let's go to the dirt sheets. Oh, man, I should have gone on the dirt sheets for the pro wrestling too, but I forgot. Oh, well. Let's go to boxingnews24.com first. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, damn. Here's something kind of cool. Alexander Usyk versus Derek Chisora on March 28th at the O2. According to Eddie Hearn. Holy crap, that's a good step up for fucking Alexander Usyk. Man, that is a dangerous fight. Are they sure they want to do this? He was fighting at cruiserweight the whole time. He had one heavyweight fight against, I can't remember exactly who. Let me see if I can find it. Because I know he already tested the waters. It just wasn't against top competition, which is the right thing to do when you're moving up divisions. You want to test the waters. You don't want to go straight into fucking Derek Chisora. Chaz Witherspoon is who he beat for his first fight. It is what it is. You know. He tested the waters, and now they're going to feed him Derek Chisora. I think it's the other way around. I think they're feeding Derek Chisora Alexander Usyk. But hey, maybe he wants to get this ball rolling. Maybe he wants that Anthony Joshua fight, is what I think. Especially because Anthony Joshua doesn't seem too keen on fighting Wilder or Fury. I think I read an article somewhere where Anthony Joshua, if he ends up fighting Wilder, wants 70% of the purse, which means fucking Wilder gets 30. It's just all weird. I don't know. Damn, Alexander Usyk getting thrown fucking from the frying pan into the fire, so to speak, huh? Let's see if we got some more stuff here. Oh, wow. De La Hoya, Charlo. This is on BoxingScene.com. Charlo's handlers turned down very lucrative offer for Canelo fight. And I quote, this article is written by Keith Edick. Let's see what De La Hoya says. He says, "We had an amazing, amazing offer for Charlo. A very lucrative offer for Charlo. And he turned it down," De La Hoya told Fight Hub TV during an interview posted Tuesday to its YouTube page. Well, Charlo didn't turn it down, but his agent or whoever's behind PBC, I don't know. God damn it. That would have been an awesome fight. Canelo versus Charlo. That would have been awesome. And De La Hoya acts like he doesn't know who the fuck is behind PBC. It's fucking Al Heyman. Get out of our face, De La Hoya. It seems like as the years go by, De La Hoya went from a man who started off a boxing company so that he can help boxers to just fucking trying to keep Canelo right next to him. I don't blame him. Canelo is the top draw in boxing right now. Canelo is his star, and he's probably nervous of losing him. We all know Golden Boy Promotions has gone through some crazy financial issues, people leaving. It's all insane. I would have loved to see that fight. I think Charlo deserves that fight. He might not be as popular as, say, Canelo, obviously, but he sure as hell is as popular as Billy Joe Saunders. He's as popular as any of those guys. So we'll see what happens. See if we got anything else. Wilder, I still think Fury has pillow as fists, but he's a skillful fighter. Gotta watch that press conference. They had press conference number 2. Hopefully next week I'll have quotes from that press conference and audio. I'll figure it out, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's it, folks. That is it for Have Fun on the Indies. I'm your host, Abe. Once again, catch me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Use the handle @HaveFunOTI, @HaveFunOTI. So you can find all these podcasts posted on YouTube, Vimeo, and SoundCloud. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, have fun on the Indies.